Welcome to my review of Swiss Army Man, directed by the Daniels, a dramedy centered on a lonely, depressed, suicidal castaway who goes on a journey of self-acceptance and a longing to live after befriending a dead body with a multitude of bizarre magical abilities that are deemed necessary to get off the island. So just in case you're somebody who is unfamiliar with Swiss Army Man or has never seen the trailer, it's known as being the farting corpse movie from Sundance, starring Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano. Daniel Radcliffe, of course, plays the dead farting corpse. And like I stated in my synopsis, he has these abilities, most of which are possible through his gas, such as Paul Dano being able to ride Daniel Radcliffe around as a jet ski on the ocean. Or you look at some other things, such as Daniel Radcliffe being able to provide Paul Dano with fresh water through none other than his spit. And throughout the movie, as their relationship builds, Daniel Radcliffe's character starts to come back to life. For those of you who sat there and watched the trailer thinking that this all has to be some kind of a joke, you wouldn't be too incredibly wrong to think that, because originally this film, or at least the concept of the film, started out as a fart joke between the directors, and of course it came into fruition as an actual movie. But ultimately, Swiss Army Man is about the battle to obtain a sense of self-acceptance, being content with your abnormalities or insecurities, and most importantly, not giving a single fuck about what others think of you. Because let's face it, if you live your life always trying to adhere to what others deem to be pleasant or the ideals of others, then there is a good chance, at least in my personal experience, that you're going to be a very lonely and unhappy person. You look at the Paul Dano character, who's painfully introverted, and the reason why he's on that island is because he let his social angst and his fear of rejection completely consume him. When living amongst others, there is a possibility that you will offend others just for you being you. It's inevitable. This all may sound like some Hallmark BS, and I certainly do believe it is a whole hell of a lot easier said than done, but if you can develop affection for yourself, accept who you are, what you're into, whatever that may be, as long as you're not harming yourself and others, then you may find others who will accept you as well. Of course, these are all glorious things that you may never know until you actually live your life. However, you might be asking, why all the farting? Well, there actually is a somewhat philosophical conversation between Dano and Radcliffe that answers that. It really makes a lot more sense if you actually watch the film, and if you must know, Radcliffe doesn't fart throughout the entire movie. It's primarily in, like, the first act, so that's good. Lastly, and I'll move on to something else, I really have to praise this movie for being a film that is not afraid of being weird. It actually is what it's preaching. Either you're going to accept it, or you won't. I did. Switching up gears, I really need to praise Daniel Radcliffe for giving a rather exceptional performance. I've been impressed with some of his past work, like in Harry Potter, but I have to say this is one of his best performances, primarily because it's such a physically demanding one. Now, of course, he does play a dead body in the film, and his character is named Manny, and some of Manny's scenes were accomplished with the use of a dummy, but most of it, of course, was Daniel Radcliffe. And it's not like he's just a dead body that is just laying there. No, he is a dead body that is slowly coming back to life, so you have all these intricacies that are required from him. It's really among the more impressive performances that I've seen this year, and he really does carry this film. As far as any issues that I have with Swiss Army Man, I did find the second act to drag a little bit. I've heard other people make this complaint, stating that it would have probably worked a little better as a short film versus a full-length feature film that's like an hour and 37 minutes. And I kind of agree with that. There is a great 60 to 70 minute film here, so needless to say, it does take its time to really fulfill the point that it's trying to make. Not only that, but I did start to become just a little annoyed hearing Paul Dano's character constantly complain and scold Daniel Radcliffe's character for doing things that would be deemed inappropriate in a regular society. It's a really good performance, and I do understand the intentions. However, there did come a point to where I did find it to be just a tad bit excessive. As for any last statements, this film does feature some very nice and creative production design. In the film, Paul Dano creates all these figures and all these props. I also dig the music for the film. It's done by two members of Manchester Orchestra, and I thought they added a very nice little touch to the film. So with all that said, I'm going to give Swiss Army Man a very strong 3.5 out of 5. If you are somebody who has seen Swiss Army Man, then do let me know your thoughts on it, and as always, I'm Colin Kirkland, and thank you so much for watching.